A huge amount of what I talk about here concerns a distinction between descriptive claims and prescriptive claims. Let's start this discussion by looking at descriptive claims. Descriptive claims, well, they describe the world. Shocking, I know. Who would have thought? Anyway, examples of descriptive claims include, well, water is made up of 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. Or, the population of Colorado as of this writing is about 5.8 million people, not counting ghosts. Another descriptive claim is vaccines cause autism. Now, the thing to note about this last example is that a descriptive claim can be false. When making a descriptive claim, a person is saying something about how the world is, but sometimes it actually isn't that way. In some cases, the speaker knows this. In other cases, the speaker is mistaken. Now, let's compare descriptive claims to prescriptive claims. Prescriptive claims prescribe a state of affairs. They tell us how the world should be, not how it is. A doctor's prescription, for example, that a patient should take 2 pills 3 times per day with meals, is the paradigm example of a prescriptive statement. The doctor isn't saying that the patient is taking 2 pills 3 times per day. The doctor is prescribing or recommending that the patient make it true that the patient is taking 2 pills 3 times per day with meals. If you want to minimize your chance of lung cancer, then you shouldn't smoke. This is a prescription. Now, if you don't mind lung cancer, then you can ignore the prescription. It only applies to those who want to avoid lung cancer. The statement, the minimum wage should be $15 per hour, is a prescription. Again, it doesn't say that the minimum wage is $15 per hour. It is prescribing or recommending that we make it the case that the minimum wage be $15 per hour. Just like with descriptive claims, we can question the truth of a prescription. Is it true that the minimum wage should be $15 per hour? Well, it seems that we can question the truth of a prescription. However, there are those who dispute this. Unfortunately, we don't have time to discuss that issue here. It'll be discussed in other videos. Here's the important thing that I want you to keep in mind. Our interest here is with prescriptive statements, statements about how the world should be, not how the world is. What makes a prescriptive claim true or false? Can they even be true or false? Assuming that they can be true or false, what kinds of evidence should we be looking for? Also, assuming that they can be true or false, which prescriptive claims are true and which are false? If you want to study how the world is, take a science class. We're going to be talking about how the world should be. Let's take a look at some examples of prescriptive statements that will be relevant to this class. You shouldn't drive while drunk. This is a moral claim. Note that it doesn't say if you don't want to get arrested, you shouldn't drive while drunk. You shouldn't drive while drunk even if you don't care about being arrested. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you is another example of a prescription. It tells you what you should do, not what you will do. Here's another example. The right act, the act you should do, is the act that produces the greatest good for the greatest number. This is a view that we'll be talking a lot about. It applies to a moral theory called utilitarianism. It's one of the 3 most widely accepted moral theories among philosophers. Another widely accepted moral theory that we'll talk about is represented by the prescription, so act that you use humanity in your own person as well as the person of any other, always at the same time as an end and not merely as a means. This is one of the ways that the 18th century Prussian philosopher Immanuel Kant used to express his categorical moral imperative. The third of our 3 main theories is virtue theory. Virtue theory doesn't prescribe actions. It prescribes character traits. It's not focused so heavily on what you should do, but on what you should be. When it comes to prescribing actions, we'll look at the thesis that an act is right if and only if a virtuous person acting characteristically would do it in those circumstances. So keep this distinction between descriptive and prescriptive statements in mind. Our concerns here will be on prescriptive statements. What we're going to be asking and attempting to answer are questions about how things should be.